Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about Preacher. We've seen the first episode.
Preacher Man.
So there's going to be some spoilers, but the first episode is out there if you want to watch it.
Yeah, it's on AMC in the States. It's on Amazon in the UK.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is elsewhere, but it's gettable at this point.
It exists.
Yeah.
So yeah, we watched the first episode and I liked it.
You liked it a bit more than me.
Yes.
Both big fans of the comic.
Yes.
Couldn't be more excited about this being turned into a TV show, and really cool that it's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg adapting it.
Yeah. Obviously, source material's weird. And in the first episode, I still don't have a hand on how they're going to do a lot of the kind of theological elements and that aspect of the story. You get a sense of it, but what you do get is funny, is very violent, and there's some really surprising things in it. It's the things in that show that I've not seen elsewhere. I particularly like when Cassidy's character decants a man's blood using a bottle that he's inserted into his chest.
Even though we couldn't understand what he was saying in that scene, that was the best scene in the episode.
We both had that moment where we were both watching it very attentively. I was struggling to understand what he was saying, and then at the end of the scene, we both turned to each other.
I called it, and I said,
you just went, I can't understand the bloody word he's saying. I was like, yep, I can't either. So he's doing this like Irish accent.
Yeah, which isn't the best Irish accent, but I mean, he's on a plane. There's the plane noise, and there's people laughing throughout the whole scene. And actually, I understood it much better later in the episode. But yeah, I thought that was the strongest scene.
I like that scene. I also think the fight scene in the bar is particularly good because all through the episode, you've got the sense of, Jesse being this, you see that he has this dark and violent past. He's a character that you should be scared of. The little boy goes to him at the beginning saying, my dad's hurting my mum.
Yeah.
I've heard things about you. What do you want me to do? I want you to hurt him. And he just he's suppressing something all through that episode. And then when he fights in that scene, he's brilliant. It's a really cool scene, which ends with a horrible arm break.
Yeah.
Which is pretty shocking, and I think, I really like that scene in general.
So they've decided to, rather than start at the beginning of book one, which almost feels like it's in the middle of the story, they've decided to go back and almost like an origin story for Jesse. And Seth Rogen said that's because it would be too difficult to just launch into it in the way the comic book did, which I totally understand, but I'm really intrigued to know what someone who doesn't know the comic book would think of that first episode, because I thought it was a bit slow, and the reason it kept my attention was because I know what's coming. But if you don't know what's coming, I wonder if there's enough there to keep you hooked.
It's quite disorientating at times as well.
Yeah.
It jumps around a lot, and it has the weird style of flying through space.
Yeah.
I don't know what I think of that yet. I don't. It might grow on me. I want to see more what they're going to do, but it's quite striking. But it maybe looks a bit cheap as well.
Yeah. Can I also say, not a huge Dominic Cooper fan in the role at the moment.
I've never really warmed to him in any other stuff he's done, but I didn't mind him in the first episode. I think
he's good and he's solid, but I just needed a bit more from that character. Obviously, he's got places to go and it's going to grow that character. And so, I don't want to judge it on one episode, but I don't know, in my head, there were just more interesting people to play that character, and he was a more charismatic dude.
Yeah.
I
also really like the guy who's playing Cassidy, Joe Gilgun.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I love him in This Is England. And I think he's just incredibly watchable. Something about his delivery it really cracks me up.
And I've met him about 3 times. Yeah. He's not really acting. That's the scary thing. Yeah, he's like the guy in This Is England. He's like the guy in Preacher.
He's just hilarious. Something
he's
about
really
him
funny.
that really cracks me up.
He's really funny.
Yeah.
He's a bit scary.
Yeah, he's a bit intimidating.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. The jury, we'll probably come back to it after a couple more episodes.
Yeah, we've put this out there because we wanted just to talk about this out this week.
And we're excited about it.
If you're watching it, let us know what you think. superheroshowign.com, because there are super-powered individuals in it, but it's comic-based, so we wanted to talk about it.
It's
anyway.
a comic book show.
Yeah.
Right, let's do some feedback. I've got one from Ben Alexander, who's in Glasgow. He says, hi guys, I have a question for you. This is really good. You've not read this one. What superhero films do you guys completely have opposite opinions on and make you have a heated debate? or a light one? I asked this as we already know there are some films you prefer more than one another, for example Ant-Man, but nothing too drastic as you both enjoyed it, just one more than the other. But I want to know what superhero film absolutely has you guys having your own civil war, as you are passionate film critics. And he said he's been watching a bunch of Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel, and that's probably what's got him thinking about it. So, I don't know if there's...
What we should do after this show, we work out what the film is, because there will be one.
Have a debate.
And we'll have a debate, and we'll put the case to the audience.
There might be one coming this year.
Strange?
No, the other one.
You look, what?
The other one.
What else is...
Suicide Squad.
Oh.
But I never want to judge a film. I just haven't been feeling, as I've said a million times.
I've loved all the trailers
Yeah,
so
and
far.
I've not, so... Maybe that's the one where we have a debate on it.
Okay.
But hopefully I'm going to like
Ben.
it.
We'll have a think about that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Condor Man. You've still not seen it, have
I've
you?
not seen Condor Man.
Yeah, you won't like it.
Merrick. I've been thinking about who should play Shazam in the upcoming DC movie. Whoever it is should be charismatic, be a good actor, and somewhat resemble the character. So these are Merrick's suggestions.
You could say that about any casting, couldn't you?
You want them to be good. First, Sean William Scott. Although he is short at only 5'9".
Excuse me, that's tall. Thank you.
That is tall.
Compared to me.
I'd look up to him. 2, Jason Segel. I think we mentioned Jason Segel.
I think you might have done.
And 3, John Krasinski.
Yeah.
With a good workout routine, these 3 actors could be good. John Krasinski doesn't need any workout routine.
I just like the disrespectful tone of that sentence.
With a good workout routine, these 3 actors could be good choices for the role. Also, I believe Billy Batson could be played by Ty Simpkins.
Yeah. So we did a show casting, didn't we? And John Krasinski definitely came up.
Yeah.
I think that was your choice. And I've definitely picked the kid. What was the kid I picked? He's in a film you haven't seen and he's brilliant in it. Oh, bugger.
Not Cop Car? No.
Oh dear. Julian from Melbourne says, firstly, so we talked about whether Bucky Barnes could become Captain America
in the MCU.
And we got quite a few emails about it, so this is the first one. Julian says, firstly, I believe Sebastian Stan has played a great Bucky and would be a great Cap. He really portrays Bucky's psychological conflict which could continue into the Cap role. Thinking about whether he deserves the privilege of the shield. Secondly, this may seem obvious, but although he may not have the initial support from the public as Cap, his acceptance could come off the back of some sort of public heroic sacrifice. For example, saving General Ross's life or something like that, which could gain their support. What do you guys think? Well, we did a show on it, so that's what we think. But yeah, that's good.
There's ways they can do it. I just think, it's like what we talked about. I think he can't, in that universe, assume that role because of all the atrocities he's committed. I think the public would just reject it. It'd be too hard to set up, I think.
How would Tony feel about it?
Oh, fuming.
Fuming?
I know. Like, he definitely won't... If you don't want Cap to have that shield, he definitely doesn't want him to have that shield.
Yeah, Bucky should have picked it up when
You're not having this.
Yeah, that's mine. Bagsies.
You crying, Tony? Micah Brown from Indianapolis. I do not think Bucky should be Cap in future MCU films. Although I like the idea of Steve Rogers being moved away from the spotlight, I believe Bucky just doesn't fit as Captain America, particularly his portrayal in the MCU. You guys briefly touched on this, but I don't see him as the morale booster team player that I think Cap should be. True. If the torch gets passed, I believe it should go to Falcon, reminiscent of the newest iteration of the Avengers comics. I am not entirely convinced that this could work, but Civil War proved that Falcon is a badass, likable character. Yeah, Falcon's so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie's cool. Yep, good point.
Thanks, Micah.
I've got one from Chris Cordova in Washington. Says, you guys recently talked about the idea of Sebastian Stan's Bucky taking over the mantle of Captain America, but I think it might make more sense to have Sam Wilson be the new Cap. You mentioned that it might be tough to see Bucky in that role, considering what the world knows about him as a terrorist, while Sam, on the other hand, has become an Avenger. There may even be a moment in Captain America Civil War that hints at Sam possibly future holding the shield. Steve Rogers is a strategic genius when it comes to rallying the team and stopping evil, and this is on display in the first Avengers film when Tony says, "Call it, Cap," and then Steve begins to give out orders. During the airport scene, when Team Cap comes to the realisation that a few are going to have to stay behind in order for Bucky and Steve to make it out, Sam is the one to make that realisation, and when he does, Cap tells Sam, "Call it." I may be reading a little too much into it, but I think it would be great to see Captain America with wings.
That's really good.
Yeah.
And that's a really good email.
Yep.
Cool.
Smarter than us.
Also, like, you don't want him you don't want Winter Soldier being Cap, and then someone just says the word homecoming, and then he like starts killing everyone again.
And Spider-Man
That's
shows
awkward.
up. It's my film.
Awkward. Adam from Las Vegas. I really have to applaud the casting decisions Marvel have made over the years. Chris Evans captures the characterization of Captain America perfectly. Before the first Cap movie, I wasn't a fan of the character. After watching it, he became my favorite hero in the MCU. I think Marvel has done it again with Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. Walking out of Civil War, I was so impressed and genuinely excited for the Black Panther movie. I cannot wait to see his character fleshed out even more in his homeland of Wakanda. With Ryan Coogler directing, Lupita Nyong'o, and Michael B. Jordan, it already sounds like my favourite MCU movie.
It's really cool, isn't it? That's really cool.
That's a really cool
we didn't
cast.
talk about that. Michael B. Jordan's in
Is
it.
Nyong'o confirmed yet? I don't know. It's been everywhere that you feel like it's probably going to happen.
Michael B. Jordan as well. Like, that's cool.
That's a heavyweight cast.
Well, with Creed.
Yeah.
Bryce Hagerman says, hi Chris and Daniel, have you heard of this rumour that not only Blade but Ghost Rider and Moon Knight may get their own Netflix series? He then does a paragraph in brackets. That's a full paragraph in brackets. As you put it in brackets, Bryce, I can't read it out because it doesn't mean you mean it. But he says, any thoughts on any of this at all, however brief would be great. So, have you heard this?
Which
Blade, Ghost Rider, and Moon Knight.
Well, there's also rumours recently about Blade being kind of grandfathered into the MCU in a weird way, which I would like that idea. I think I'd want them to go more supernatural, and I think if Netflix is a cool home for that, so I think that works in terms of tone, that you could have like really violent vampire scenes.
Yep.
So I'd love to see a Blade Netflix show.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what they're doing in the comics, like he has a daughter or something like that, so he's like Wesley Snipes in it, but as kind of the mentor role, like the Whistler.
He could be in prison.
Yeah.
Couldn't he?
He loves it. Moon Knight, I think it's hard to sell, but there's ways of doing it. You'd have to launch him in something else. Ghost Rider, maybe I think the effects on that for TV, even like Netflix might be a bit.
Dude, the effects weren't that good in the film, so I'm going to try something new here.
Okay.
Didn't work. Your email. It's a long one.
Let's never speak of that
Pretend
again.
that never happened.
Morgan. That was so crap.
I know, it was supposed to fly. I thought it was going to soar.
Morgan.
It's not funny, mate.
Speaking of showing an investigative side of Batman, the only time I've ever been impressed by a procedural sequence in a superhero movie wasn't in a movie, and it wasn't Batman. It was season 2 of Daredevil, when Matt tracks down Frank Castle's hideout in plain clothes, and with his heightened senses ultimately resulting in Matt being able to foil Frank's plan by throwing Punisher's own homemade bomb at his feet. What I love about this is how grounded it was. It wasn't rushed, and it resulted in a real, playful, like in the comics, character moment for Daredevil. It showed how only Daredevil could have tracked him down that way, and really highlighted his limited skill set. So with Batman, how is this really possible, other than diving into highly technical CSI type procedural methods, of which there are already plenty in the movies, but especially television, which is saturated with CSI type shows. In short, I think the challenge is to show or give the impression that Bruce Wayne and Batman is uniquely qualified to solve whatever case we see in the upcoming film.
Can I disagree?
Okay.
I don't think it needs to be a CSI procedural style thing. The point is, and the films have never touched on this, Batman is the greatest detective. He's basically Sherlock Holmes, but a superhero. And therefore, think of it as a Sherlock Holmes story. He can use his superior brain power to figure stuff out and get to the bottom of a case. And we've not really seen that ever on screen, but it happens a lot in the comics. So
that's my big hope, and we've talked about this, is you need the whole film to support it, whereas the Nolan films did it in like scenes, like tick off. It's like with the detective scene in Dark Knight where he's analysing bullet holes. The whole plot has to be a mystery to solve. And BVS, to its credit, tries to give him that arc where he's tracking something down. It just turns out it's not that complex.
Let's have a mystery.
Yeah,
let's have a full-on mystery.
Well, something like Black Mirror by Scott Snyder.
Yeah,
there's a serial killer and he's working out someone's identity. That's cool.
Twists and turns. Give us that. Final email from Brian D says, my question for you guys is, where do you think the MCU will go and accumulate to after Thanos is defeated? Who can be more powerful than someone with the Infinity Gauntlet? So Brian's asking us to look way ahead. Way ahead.
Yeah. It's going to be weird once Infinity War resolves itself and they defeat Thanos. Spoiler.
But
they will.
They'll be seeding something else, won't they?
Well, there's loads of new characters up and running by that point anyway that will have their own movies afterwards,
Yeah.
in the aftermath of Infinity War. But like, there's no shortage of other plot lines that they could pick on, or like characters they could start developing. That conversation's already been having. Like, they're already having that conversation.
Yeah.
So, like, true, like the Infinity Gauntlet is like one of the seminal Marvel storylines of all time, but there are other ones.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've got some stuff planned.
Google Ivan Drago. I think he could be more powerful.
What they go next?
Yeah. If you're looking for someone bigger and badder than Thanos, I would go Drago.
Soviet Union.
Yeah. He'll break you.
Cool. So thank you for the feedback as always. How do people write in?
I still don't know.
superhero@ign.com, and until next week, take care of yourself.